Just as a beryl gem, beautiful, of fine quality, eight-faceted, of excellent workmanship, and placed on a brocade cloth, shines and beams and radiates, so too the young devas in Susima's assembly displayed diverse lustrous colors. And just as an ornament of finest gold, very skillfully burnished in a furnace by an adroit goldsmith, when placed on a brocade cloth, shines and beams and radiates, so too the young devas in Susima's assembly displayed diverse lustrous colors. And just as when the night is fading, the morning star shines and beams and radiates, so too the young devas in Susima's assembly displayed diverse lustrous colors. And just as in the autumn, when the sky is clear and cloudless, the sun ascending in the sky dispels all darkness from space as it shines and beams and radiates, so too the young devas in Susima's assembly, elated, gladdened, full of rapture and joy, displayed diverse lustrous colors. Then, with reference to the Venerable Sariputta, the young deva Susima recited this verse in the presence of the Blessed One. He is widely known to be a wise man, Sariputta, who is free of anger, of few wishes, gentle, tamed, the seer, adorned by the teacher's praise. Then the Blessed One, with reference to the Venerable Sariputta, replied to the young deva Susima in verse. He is widely known to be a wise man, Sariputta, who is free of anger, of few wishes, gentle, tamed, developed, well tamed. He awaits the time. That's the end of the sutta. So here you see, even the Buddha also praises the Venerable Sariputta. So in the end, the Buddha says he is waiting his time. He's waiting his time to enter Nibbana. Sometimes, like the Buddha says, they have done their work, so just waiting to collect collect the salary like that. So in the original suttas, you find Sariputta is always praised by humans and devas, because Venerable Sariputta is the monk with the highest wisdom. And the Buddha says that Venerable Sariputta turns the Dhamma wheel exactly like the Buddha himself. 2.30. Thus have I heard. On one occasion, the Blessed One was dwelling at Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, the squirrel sanctuary. Then when the night had advanced, a number of young devas, disciples of various sectarian teachers, Asama and Sahali and Ninka and Akotaka and Vetambari and Manavagamya, of stunning beauty, illuminating the entire bamboo grove, approached the Blessed One. Having approached, they paid homage to the Blessed One and stood to one side. Then standing to one side, the young deva Asama spoke this verse, referring to Purana Kassapa in the presence of the Blessed One. In injuring and killing here, in beating and extortion, Kassapa did not recognize evil, nor see any merit for oneself. He indeed taught what is worthy of trust. That teacher deserves esteem. Then the young deva Sahali spoke this verse, referring to Makali Kosala in the presence of the Blessed One. By austerity and scrupulousness, he attained complete self-restraint. He abandoned contentious talk with people, refrained from falsehood, a speaker of truth. Surely such a one does no evil. Then the young deva Ninka spoke this verse, referring to Niganta Nataputta in the presence of the Blessed One. A scrupulous, discerning monk, well restrained by the four controls, explaining what is seen and heard. Surely he could not be a sinner. Then the young deva Akotaka spoke this verse, referring to various sectarian teachers in the presence of the Blessed One. Pakudaka Katyana and Niganta, along with Makali and Purana, teachers of companies, attained to ascetic stature. They were surely not far from superior men. Then the young deva Vetambari replied to the young deva Akotaka in verse. Even by howling along, the wretched jackal remains a vile beast. never the lion's spear. So though he be the teacher of a group, the naked ascetic, speaker of falsehood, arousing suspicion by his conduct, bears no resemblance to superior men. Then Mara, the evil one, took possession of the young Deva with Tambari and recited this verse in the presence of the Blessed One. Those engaged in austerity and scrupulousness, those protecting their solitude, and those who have settled on form, delighting in the world of Devas, indeed, these mortals instruct rightly in regard to the other world. Then the Blessed One, having understood this is Mara, the evil one, replied to Mara, the evil one, in verse: whatever forms exist here and beyond, and those of luminous beauty in the sky, all these indeed you praise, Namuchi, like bait thrown out for catching fish. Then in the Blessed One's presence, stop here one. This Namuchi is another name for Mara. Mara is the Satan in Buddhism. So he's saying all these beautiful things that you praise, Mara, they are all your bait for catching living beings. This world, the Buddha says, all the delightful things in the world are all Mara's bait to catch us. Beautiful sights, nice sounds, nice smells, taste, touch, and thoughts. Then in the Blessed One's presence, the young Deva, Manavagamiya, recited these verses referring to the Blessed One. Vipula is called the best of mountains, among the hills of Rajagaha. Seta, the best of snow-clad mountains. The sun, the best of travelers in the sky. The ocean is the best body of water. The moon, the best of nocturnal lights. But in this world, together with its devas, the Buddha is declared supreme. So that's the end of the sutta. You see in this sutta that these devas, many of them were followers of external ascetic teachers who were famous during the Buddha's time. But the Buddha said their teachings were wrong. And in fact, in one sutta, the Buddha called one of these external sect teachers a fool, Makali Kosala Putta. The Buddha says that fool Makali is leading beings to the woeful plains of existence. Just like the fish trap leads the fish along the trap and goes into the stakes and then can never come out. So the Buddha says in the same way, Makali is leading a lot of people to the woeful plains. And why? Because I think Makali is one of those who says there is no karma vipaka. There's no result of karma. You can do what you like. There's no merit. There's no sin. Nothing. But you see, some of their followers, even though they follow the wrong teachers, because they probably were good at heart, so they did good things, so they are reborn in heaven, not because of not because of the teacher's doctrine helped them to be born in heaven. So it doesn't matter what religion we follow, as long as our heart is good. We don't do evil, we don't harm others. We help others, then we can go to heaven. Now we come to the third Samyutta, which is a Kosala Samyutta. Kosala is one of the two famous countries during the Buddha's time along the Ganges Valley. So the king of Kosala is Pasenadi. Raja Pasenadi. He was a follower of the Buddha also. The first sutta. Thus have I heard, on one occasion the Blessed One was dwelling at Savatthi in Jeta's grove, Anathapindika's park. Then King Pasenadi of Kosala approached the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. When they had concluded their greetings and cordial talk, he sat down to one side and said to the Blessed One, "Does Master Gotama too claim I have awakened to the unsurpassed perfect enlightenment. Let's stop here for a while. So here it's obvious that this is probably the first or the second time that this King Pasenadi came to see the Buddha. So he doesn't really know the Buddha yet. So he's asking the Buddha, do you also claim to be enlightened? This is like some of the external sect teachers. Then the Buddha said, if great king, one speaking rightly could say of anyone, he has awakened to the unsurpassed perfect enlightenment. It is of me that one should rightly say this, for I, great king, have awakened to the unsurpassed perfect enlightenment. So here Buddha is stating very firmly that he is enlightened. If anyone is in the world is enlightened at all, the Buddha said, I am enlightened. And then King Pasenadi said, Master Gotama, even those ascetics and Brahmins who are the heads of orders and companies, the teachers of companies, well-known and famous founders of sects considered by the multitude to be holy men, that is, Purana Kassapa, Makali Kosala, Niganta Nataputta, Sanjaya Belati Putta, Pakuda Kachayana, Ajita Kesa Kambali, even these, when I asked them whether they had awakened to the unsurpassed perfect enlightenment, did not claim to have done so. So why then should Master Gotama make such a claim when he is so young in years and has newly gone forth? I'll stop here for a moment. You see, the Buddha was enlightened at the age of about 35. So this must have been around that time when he was 36 or 37. Still very young, black hair and all that. So this king is saying, you are so young, you have been a monk such a short time, how can you claim to be enlightened? These other teachers, they are so old, they have been monks for so long, and so they never claim to have been enlightened. And the Buddha said, there are 4 things, great king, that should not be despised and disparaged as young. What 4? A Khattiya, or a warrior, noble, one from a royal family, a noble family. A Khattiya, great king, should not be despised and disparaged as young. A snake should not be despised and disparaged as young. A fire should not be despised and disparaged as young. And a monk should not be despised and disparaged as young. These are the 4. This is what the Blessed One said. Having said this, the Fortunate One, the teacher, further said, one should not despise as young a Khattiya of noble birth, a high-born prince of glorious fame. A man should not disparage him, for it may happen that this Lord of men, this Khattiya, shall gain the throne, and in his anger thrash one harshly with a royal punishment. Therefore, guarding one's own life, one should avoid him. One should not despise as young a serpent one may see by chance in the village or a forest. A man should not disparage it, for as that fierce snake glides along, manifesting in diverse shapes, it may attack and bite the fool, whether a man or a woman. Therefore, guarding one's own life, one should avoid it. One should not despise as young a blazing fire that devours much, a conflagration with blackened trail. A man should not disparage it, for if it gains a stock of fuel, having become a conflagration, it may attack and burn the fool, whether a man or a woman. Therefore, guarding one's own life, one should avoid it. When a fire burns down a forest, that conflagration with blackened trail, the shoots there spring to life once more as the days and nights pass by. But if a monk of perfect virtue burns one with his virtue's fire, one does not gain sons and cattle, nor do one's heirs acquire wealth. Childless and heirless they become, like stumps of palmyra trees. Therefore, a person who is wise, out of regard for his own good, should always treat these properly: a fierce serpent and a blazing fire, a famous Khattiya and a monk of perfect virtue. When this was said, King Pasenadi of Kosala said to the Blessed One, Magnificent Venerable Sir, magnificent Venerable Sir, the Dhamma has been made clear in many ways by the Blessed One, as though he were turning upright what had been turned upside down. revealing what was hidden, showing the way to one who was lost, or holding up